Hi everyone. I did a quick pause and then was worried that didn't actually pause and closed down my video. So this is the continuation of that quick pause. It was a weird bug, and it was a bug that, remember when I said, oh well, I'll just put that number in there for right now. Turns out that that bit me in the backside and I found out the error, but let's walk through how I find that error. So the issue that I had last time around was I was getting something about having a corrupted the array that I was using was corrupted for some reason. No clue what was going on. Wasn't sure what the problem was. So let's actually also do a couple other little things. I want to fix my. I know where the mistake is right now, so let's just rest length, and I'll use that, and I will use rest length plus one and rest length plus one. All right, so I'm going to bring it back to what the problem was before. And if I run the code now, it should crash on me. Okay, so I'm going to put hello. I just do the simple hello because I want to see if it's just the input, the exact input that I dealt with. Let's see if that. Oh, it still gives me an error. There's something around involving the stack around old demo. Hmm. I need to figure out what could be possibly causing this. So what I could do is, if I'm not sure what's causing this, I could do. Let's see here. Let's comment out this, compile it, just in case it's my printf statement. I have no idea what it could be. So hello, H-E-E-H. Nope, still going to be a problem. All right, so we know that that's a problem. Why don't I, so I'm going to add that back in. Let's compile it again. Let's try a different input. Let's try an input where I'm not going to do any substitutions. So let's try something like hello, E-H-H-E. Right? There is no EH in that message, so there should be no substitutions that happen. And if it's something involving my replacing the substitutions, then this should go through just fine. Hey, it went through just fine. So I know the problem has to be in replace all old, and only in the actual legitimate message scenario when I'm replacing stuff. So now it's my job to figure out what the heck is going wrong. And so some of the things I've been trying to that I ended up looking at. Well, I wanted the number of replacements that I'm going to keep using that. Let's see here. One thing I might want to deal with is maybe I want to have the char position that I currently am in. Maybe I'm going beyond the boundary of my array. Maybe it's over 30 characters for some unknown reason. Like that for loop goes on infinitely. Like this for loop down here goes on infinitely or something like that. So what I could do is figure out where my character position in my array is. This is where my pointer is, where the start of the array is. The difference between those two is where I am currently pointing. So it might be position 0 or position 5 or something like that. And I can always assert that the character position that I'm currently at is less than the size of my array, just to be on the safe side. And every single time I change my message pointer position, I can increase my character position. So I can keep on checking to see, making sure, hey, the character position I'm pointing to is still a legitimate value. So I put these asserts in everywhere just to make sure. If my character position where I'm pointing to is ever not a legitimate position, it should blow up there, not when I'm finally done with my code. And so I put that in there. Still nothing happened. I tried a bunch of other approaches. Still nothing happened. And so I start going back to, well, what could corrupt exactly the array that I'm dealing with? I'm only stomping on one array, which is my original message array. This thing right here we go. This thing right here. I'm only changing this. Everything else, this array doesn't get changed. This array doesn't get changed. So it's got to be in here somewhere. Something's going wrong here. Okay, so where do I use this? Where do I start putting things into it? Because that's effectively what I'm seeing. I'm putting data in there in the wrong way somehow. So I want to look at places where I'm using the message pointer or my original message, this a message, or something along those lines. Where do I do this? And str doesn't change anything. So it's only in cases where I'm putting stuff in this array. So I'm going to look through all the places where I'm putting stuff into this array. Okay, I'm finding something in the array. I'm going down a bit further. I'm going to copy stuff from my array to some temporary buffer. That should be legitimate. It's not going to change anything. I might want to find out, but I do notice something weird going on here. Like I said, the maximum number of characters I can transfer over is this. It could be 30. So if I'm halfway through my array, I could be transferring 30 characters over. It shouldn't. It should only be the length of my array here, but just on the off chance it's going to do that. Let's make sure it doesn't do that. So what I could do, what I was suggesting to do, is I'm going to get the length of whatever's left in my array afterwards. So wherever I found the letters I'm looking for, the remaining text afterwards. I'm going to get that number because I know I'm not going to transfer more than this. And I'm going to use +1 to include the 0. So whatever LLO, let's say, whatever the rest of my message is, plus a 0 at the end. That's the maximum number of characters I'm going to transfer over. Right? It's the length of whatever the remaining message is, +1. Just on the off chance that this thing here is transferring too much stuff. If string copy is copying all of those characters, irrespective of what this message is, that would be a problem. So I want to just transfer just these messages. Okay, so let's be on the safe side. Let's do that. Let's go down to where else do I need to use this? This for loop, I did an assert, or not an assert, I did a breakpoint. I checked out my for loop, made sure that that was working correctly. Okay, that never goes outside of the boundaries. And I even do an assert to make sure it's still within my array. The only places where I'm not in control of where things are transferring into the array is right here, string copy. I'm not sure if it's going to transfer this number of characters or just whatever is in my message here. So just to be on the safe side, let's put I'm moving just this number of characters. The length of whatever was left +1, the 0. And now if I go to compile my code, so I check that out, I'm going to put hello, hello, hello again, HE, EH, and everything works. Why? Because string copy, it turns out, is copying that many characters irrespective of when the string ends. It's going to copy even more characters than I anticipated. It's copying everything, all of those, not just until the end of the string like I thought it did. This is how you debug your code. Okay, let's do one more. Let's figure this out one more time. Let's try something else. So, hello, 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 and hopefully this is going to work. I'm going to replace HE with that. Hopefully that'll. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if I can just take a nothing answer. Hello, 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 HE, tilde, and I'm now replacing it with a single character. I have no idea how to get 0 characters in there. I thought just pressing the enter would have given me 0 characters. But I can shrink the size of my string, and it's working. Let's try one more. I'm going to replace HE with HE. Because if I did something wrong, I'm going to get myself an infinite loop. So let's find out if it works. Oh, thank goodness, it works. Okay, that could have been problematic. If I kept on going to the beginning of my string, I'm going to replace HE with 2 HEs, and then 4 HEs, then 8 HEs, and I'd have an infinite loop. I could try, hello, hello, hello. I'm going to replace the L with LL. So I should get 4 L's, 4 L's, 4 L's. Yeah, that works. And I had 6 replacements. There's 6 L's in hello, hello, hello. I'm just playing around with different kinds of combinations that might work. That's how I legitimately test every single piece of code that I do, and that's what you need to be doing to make sure you pass something in for an assignment. All right, let's look finally at our other approach. We're going to use the strings. So if you're very comfortable with C strings, hopefully that wasn't too boring or too confusing. Let's do our new demo. We're going to get new text for this, and let's also copy out. I'm going to be doing a lot of the same thing over and over again, so I want to see if I can just copy out or comment out the old versions of this and go to the new versions. So I don't want to delete it. I want to just, copy it up. So, cout. The things are going out to the cout statement. So the arrow goes towards the cout. That's one way of looking at it. I might want to do this, and then I'll do and L. All right. I'm going to need cout is undefined. I'm going to need to figure out what I'm using for cout. Oh, this is standard IO. So standard IO. Hopefully that's going to do it. Nope. Let's see what my potential fixes are. IO stream. There you go. That's what these are for, right? You find out what's going to work and what's not. All right, so I'm going to use IO stream. IO stream is for all the various streaming inputs that I might need. So instead of a scanf, I'm going to do a cin, and then I'm going to do its new demo. And it's called new demo, right? Let's see. No, it's not a new demo, it's just new demo. I'm going to have another output statement, cout. I'm going to put this is my new message. All right, a new line. Okay, I'm going to do another cin statement. And we're going to figure out what the heck that variable is called. To find new. To find new. Okay, so that input's going to go there. I'm going to do another cout. Input that. Let's put the semicolon in there. All right. And then I'm going to say another cin, and this is to replace new. There you go. All right. So I'm going to get the three different I'm going to get the three messages. Let's make sure that that works as I expected. Okay, and I'm going to just okay. Hello, 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 HE, right? Well, it's getting stuff at least. We don't know what it's necessarily doing, so let's do a cout statement. And the were new demo and to find new and okay, sorry, I'm going to be trying to be grammatically correct. There you go. and what's the last thing I want? Replace new. And my cout is they're all backwards, if you notice. And I can tell because it's going to give me an underline. I was just following the cin and that didn't look right. It's all going out to the left, so it has to go out to the cout. It's pointing to the cout. That's where it's going. The arrows are directional. All right, and replace new. And then I'm going to put an end line. Just wonder why that looked weird. All right, try it again. Hello. It's going to do all three at the same time, right? Hello, 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 and he. Okay. I also need to put in a space after the and. All right. All right. There's my messages. I need to do that replace all, but I'm going to call it replace all new, and I'm going to get the number of replaced. So I'm going to make a brand new thing, brand new function that's going to deal with strings instead of what I had before. Do place all new, and then I'm going to have demo to find new, place new. All right, let's get this thing off the ground. I'm going to go to make my prototype. So what's my prototype going to look like? It's going to look exactly like the other one, except instead of these char strings, right, it's just going to be string, string, string. All right. And I'm not going to even put the A's I underscores because they're not actually arrays anymore. These are just objects. I don't have to do that, but and then I'm going to call it replace all new. All right. Let's plop that down and define it. So what do I need to do? I need to do the same thing as I did last time, but I'm going to do, let's see how that goes. Place all old to do add your header comment, right? We should do that. I'm just running out of time. Okay, so I have three different strings that are coming in. What do I need to do? I need to figure out if those strings are, well, the strings technically can't be null. I can figure out if the strings are empty or not. If the strings are empty, then I can just bail from the whole thing. So then I'm going to say, let's check this out. So if message dot length, so it's a function, or I could also say is empty. I think is empty or is empty. Now that might be a private member variable. I might want to just check the length. So let's find out if, but again, I don't ever remember what all these functions are or what they do. I don't need to. This is the beautiful thing about an integrated development environment, an IDE. I can just put something in there. Is empty, or I can say, let's see, empty. Does empty give me a, oh yeah, there it is. Boolean, is it empty? There you go. If the message is empty, return 0. Else if substring return 0. And let's actually, we could do it, well, let's do it this way. Keep it consistent with the last one. Else if, and then replace. If the replacement string is empty, is it still legitimate? Yeah, it is actually. It's still legitimate even if it's empty. So it can't be null, but none of these can be null. If I make a string, it is not a null string, at least for now. Okay, so otherwise I'm going to have the else. And so let's do this thing. I'm going to find, I have my original message. I'm going to find what I had before. Actually, let's find out if I have this. Message dot replace. And let's see what I have here. I'm going to have an iterator. I have a string that I'm going iterator. I have the string constant pointer, and it's going to be replace thing. So let me see here. First instance, the pointer to, let me see here. It's an iterator. That's not going to, we're not into iterators quite yet, so we're not going to hit that yet. So find I could try replace, but we tried replace, but is there another version of replace? Oh, 10 overloads. Let's find out which overloads we have. So we have an iterator, we have an iterator, we have an iterator. We have the size of the offset. We have the number of character. We're going to have the count, and then we're going to replace this string. So we pass in a string. We and it's going to return a string. It's going to have an offset uh, and a particular count for how many of those replacements you're going to have. Let's find out. Let's try this. So my message, I'm going to say substring. I'm going to pass in the substring. It's going to be at, and my replacement string is this. And can I will I replace all at once? Let's find out what happens if I replace them all at once. Message is equal to this. Now I might it might automatically work for me. I may not have to do anything at all. Let's find out what this thing does. Let's put a breakpoint. Why not? Okay. So does this? What's wrong with this? And offset is 0. Let's see if that works. No, string. Oh no, this iterator thing again. Size, offset, offset. Okay, so we have a size, an offset, a string to the right. We're going to replace. I'm just looking at these various things. So I have the size, the string that I'm going to be replacing it with, or what I'm going to replace, but I don't have the replacing each instance. So let's just try it with string this. What happens? String, replace, okay. Types are string, object type string. It may not work on this case. So normally this is the time when I'd actually do a quick search to find out if I can find something that's going to make this work. Because replace seems like a very good thing. I could swap. What does swap do? Let's see what swap does. Oh, I'm going to swap something. I'm going to swap a particular piece of text. Reverse replace. There you go. What does replace do? I'm going to replace. I also have 11 of these things here. Oh no, I already looked at replace. I already had replace here. But replace seems to be my most legitimate thing. I'm going to replace this with this. There's something I'm missing here. Let's just compile it. See, it's going to give me an error right here. No overloaded methods. Take two functions. Replace a character with character. Argument list. All right, let's find out what we have here. So I have a string iterator. I could just pass in those strings. I might have, and the size, last count. This might be a character by character replacement. Let's do it the hard way because I'm not going to find this really quickly. So let's find all instances of my substring. Find, and I'm going to find my substring. And what does this actually return? It's going to return a position, a size, a position. And subpos is going to be equal to this. Later on, I'm going to get, as long as I keep on getting a subpos that's not a negative value or a 0 or beyond the length of my string, will be fine. So let's figure out if I have a subpause, and then while subpause is greater than or equal to 0 and subpause is less than message dot length. So as long as it's a legitimate subposition, I can keep on finding these positions. And then what I could do is I could take my message up to that point, put in the new the little bit of text that I have, and then put the message afterwards, and just keep on doing that, and return it at the end. Yeah, that would work. And so I would then need to have a new starting position. Um, let's see if I can put a start pause in here. Offset pause position. All right. So I'm going to start at position 0. When I find a new subposition, I'm going to if I keep on doing this over and over and over again, which I'm planning on doing, like I did last time, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to start at this start position, and every single time I go through it, I'm going to update my starting position so I shift over a certain amount at a time. My starting position is going to be, I'm going to make a new string each time. I'm going to copy the first part of my substring over. Okay, so let's do this. Message.substring, and it's going to be the offset is going to be whatever my starting position is. It's going to go however many characters over, so that is going to be subpause. This may not be perfectly right, but let's have a look at this right now. This is going to give me a substring. That is a part of my string. So it'll go up to the character that I'm looking for. And then I'm going to plus, and I'm going to say the thing I'm going to be replacing in there, the replacement string, and then I'm going to get everything after that particular substring. So message dot substring, and it's going to be subpause plus, and I need the length of my substring. I'm finding start pause. I'm finding substring. Substring. Okay. All right. So some basic math in here. I'm going to make a substring up to the text I'm going to be looking at. So let's actually make some of these by myself here. I'll break this into a bunch of little parts just to hopefully make it a bit easier to, and we can look at what the text is going to give us. String after text is equal to, and then when we debug this thing, we'll see what happens. And message is equal to be first text plus my replacement text plus my after text. So I have the message before the substring that I'm looking for, the message after my substring that I'm looking for, and the replacement text in between. From there, I know what the position is. I need to have my my starting position is going to be equal to, it's going to be the it's going to be wherever that the replacement text was found. So subpause plus replace string dot length. This may not be perfect, so let's have a look at this. So I'm going to take my where I found the substring, up to where I found the substring, add the length of my substring. That would be where my new starting position is. Now my subpause might be this might go, the math might be a little wonky, so let's put a breakpoint in there and let's find out how this thing's going to work. But this is going to keep on, it's going to replace my old string with my new string, make a brand new string each time. So each time I'm going to rip out my old one, plop in a new one. There are probably more efficient ways of doing this, but this is one way I could have done this, and it will give me hopefully, eventually give me the right answer. When I'm done, oh, I need to increase uh, my num replacements. Int num, let's call it num replacement, yeah. Make it the same name. All right, and then every single time I do this, increment that. That's my end of my else. Here's my end of my while, so return num replacements. Okay, and that's the end of my function here. Let's run this and see what happens. So every single time I find the substring that I'm looking for, I always have a offset starting point for this. Every time I find the substring that I'm looking for, so I find the substring in the message starting, and I start looking at starting position, it'll give me a number. For each one of these numbers, I'm going to get the substring up to that number, get the substring after the little text snippet that I want to remove, and then I'm going to put the new text snippet in the middle instead. So I string them all together, and then afterwards I change my starting position to be offset by just past the new text I put in there. All right, so let's hello, 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 EH. Let's see what I get here. So I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to find EH. I should find something. It's the first character, the first two characters. Okay, I'm going to get a substring from the very start to the subposition, position 0. It should be an empty string. I'm going to get the string after my subposition, position 0, plus 2. So after text should be hello, 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 right here. And now I'm going to make this new message, which would be the empty string EH hello, hello, hello. All right, that should get rid of one of those messages. Okay, next I'm going to change my starting position to be position 2. I'm going to change the number of replacements. At position 2, I'm going to find, starting at position 2, I'm going to find the substring. Now, I need to make sure that when I find the substring, it's going to be the legitimate correct position. It's at position 5. That looks legitimate. Hello is 5 characters long. The next hello is going to be at position 5. So the text for the first chunk of a message is going to be LOHE. And so my starting position, because I want the substring from the starting position, which is 2, all the way to the subposition. I actually want the full thing, don't I? Irrespective of where the starting position is. Yeah, so that's going to give me a wrong answer. I just want EHLLO. Okay, there. So I'm a little bit off here. This number here, I'll always start at the starting point of this substring. Now, substring can take different things. It can take the beginning point. This could be also the length, or it can take, the function can work in different ways. So it can take two parameters. It can take one parameter. Depends on how it was implemented. This can take one parameter, which is just give me the substring up to subposition. Subposition is always going to keep on being the correct position according to this. And so we'll run through it one more time. All right, so we've already done this one. That should be no problem. The subposition, the thing I'm going to find is it's at position 5, which I expected. I'm going to get the first text, which should be first text is my original. I don't want the original message, do I? My original message is, why is that looking like that? Let's do the after text. Let's do one. Let's do it one more time. I want to look at something here. Okay. So hello, 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 H-E-E-H. All right. First time around, I'm going to get hello, 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 because the sub position is at position 0. That's going to be wrong now. Okay. So if I added if I go from 0 to 0, that would, the thing is, it's getting the message, it's getting the substring at position 0, and it's giving me the entire substring. That's not what I wanted. I'm going to do 0 comma this. All right, let's try that again. Let's look at it in action. I'm going to get to, all right, H-E-E-H. Right? What the heck just happened there? Okay, let's stop it one more time. Let's get out of this. Let's run it again. I should be going, I should be hitting breakpoint. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to find the message. The position at the beginning is 0. That's where the first HE is, at position 0. I'm going to find the substring from 0 to 0, which should be an empty string. I'm going to then take the position, the text after that, from the substring from starting. So let's, the after text is going to be, okay. So it's the starting, the substring is starting at that offset, not how many characters I'm copying over. Okay, so this is the starting at this offset, copy over that substring. That's what I was doing wrong. Okay, so I get an after message with hello, hello, hello. I'm then going to check, I'm going to add, so my first text is blank. My after text is hello, hello, hello. The replacement text is EH. My message should now be EH, hello, hello, hello. I'm going to, my starting position is going to be replaced, is going to be position 2. The number of replacements that I'm going to have is, let's make sure that that's going to work for me. All right, and the number of replacements is 1. I go up 1. I'm going to go, and I'm going to find my message. I might have a problem here. You'll notice what I have as a potential issue. I'm calling find after I jump in here. I actually need to call this find message after I've done all of this. I've already done it once, so okay. That's going to be a problem. So I'm going to move this down here. I could have also done what's called a do while loop and done my checking afterwards. So if this substitute position, the thing I'm looking for, is legitimately in there, it's a legitimate number, then I'm going to loop around again. I want to do it at the end, not at the top of my loop. I'm going to stop it one more time. Let's try it again. Okay. All right. So the sub position is at, are you kidding me? I'm finding HE in hello, hello, hello at starting position here. Y is, oh, notice what I have here. Oh, I can't believe I missed that. The sub position and the starting position, I have ints here. If I included an int here, I have two variables called sub position here and here. It's not the same variable. So while I'm in this while loop, I'm going to assume it's this one in here, which gets replaced every time through the while loop. It's just me making a stupid error, but you could be looking at that for a while. I had a second variable called sub position right here in my while loop and here. Okay, one more time, because God knows this is going to take forever and a day to do. All right. And why didn't I? Oh, it did the printf statement. Okay, so here we are. We're going to, my sub position should be at position 0. Great. I'm going to get the first text. I'm going to get the rest of the text. I'm going to get my message. I'm going to get a new starting position, which is position 2. My number of replacements is going to be 1. My sub position is now going to be finding that substring starting at position 2. It's at position 5. Great. Once around through the loop, I find the substring, so EHLLO. The aftertext is LLO hello. I've put make my message together. I've replaced this second instance of HE. Number of replacements is 2. I'm going to go once around again. I'm going to find it again. It's at position 10, which I expect it to be. The first message is going to be the first 2 versions of hello. Then the aftertext is just going to be LLO. I'm going to replace that third HE in my message. So now should be done. There's no more HEs in my message. I'm going to replace. I'm going to change my starting position to be position 12. The number of replacements is going to be 3. My sub position, I'm going to have the substring and I'm going to start at position 12. So it should give me a -1. It is less than 0. I had a legitimate stopping condition. Their number of replacements is 3. I get out. I press continue. And I'm not sure if I'm going to get a final message or not, but the messages were hello, 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 HE and EH. Oh, that's not the final message I wanted to have. So let's now throw in my final message, which was something like, there we go. And let's plop that in there. And I'm going to use my cout statement again. New message is, I need to close off that. They're slightly different from one another. And new demo. Oh, so I got to figure out if new demo is actually going to be changed. That is a good question. Well, that is the ultimate question that we're asking here. So what's going to happen with new demo? We may actually have a problem here, because I'm not just passing the array over to another thing. I'm passing an object. Much like an integer, I make a copy, I can do all sorts of things, and then the number will go back to what it was before. So let's see what happens with new demo. I may have a problem here. Okay, and we shall see what that problem might end up being, which required replacements and as you might imagine, it's probably a good idea to see if we can put it on a new line. Hopefully that's going to work well for us. All right. Oh, I don't need 2 of those. New demo, which is required, blah, blah, blah. Okay. We might see a problem. So let's see if we find out the problem. So let's modify this and okay, that's just my breakpoint. Continue, and we'll see something weird, hopefully. And the new message is hello, 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 hello. What? This is the kind of things that we're going to be hitting over and over again, and I want you to be exposed to some of the weird, crazy stuff that you end up seeing. When I call a function, what happens? I make a new instance of that function each of these variables: message, substring, and replace string are new variables. They're created from scratch when I call replace all new. They get assigned the value by what called it. The value in this case, uh, it's up here. The value in this case is new demo to find new, but they're just the values of those variables, not the actual strings themselves. Those aren't being passed around, just the values. So message has the same string values as what called it. Substring, same thing. Replace string, same thing. And I'm returning the number of replacements that are being made. But the message itself has not changed. When I change this message, it's not the original text message I have. It's a copy. I'm modifying the copy in here, and so at the end of the day, it's not gonna change my original message. I need to do something else. So here's what my suggestion is going to be. I'm going to replace this with a string. I'm going to return a string. I'm also going to change this function around a little bit, and so int star p number replacements. So I'm going to pass in a parameter that is just a pointer to an integer. I'm then going to change that. Instead of returning an integer, I'm just going to pass in this pointer to an integer and modify that to make sure it is the right value. Let's even these out. Okay, so if that, hopefully that may not make sense, but let's walk you through it again. So I want to make sure I've replaced this up here. Okay, semicolon. All right, so I'm going to replace, instead of what I was doing before, which just returning an integer and modifying my original message, this is a pointer to a character array. So when I pass the pointer, I can modify the original data. If I'm passing in a string object, I'm making a brand new string object called message. It has the exact same value as the other one, but it's a clone. It's a copy of what the original thing was. So when I modify message, nothing changes in the original message. So instead, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to return that message at the end. And I'm going to use a pointer to an integer to update how many numbers have been replaced. Okay. So what I need to do here is this is equal to 0. New demo is equal to replace all new, and then I'm going to pass in the pointer to num replaced 2, because this will take new demo. I'll make a brand new variable with the exact contents of new demo, but new demo doesn't get changed. Now I'm going to change new demo to be equal to what I had before. This new modified version of it. Okay, I have a number of replacements. I'm going to replace this number of replacements. Where is it now? I don't want this at all. And let's let the error messages help me out here. Plus plus, plus plus, and I don't need to return the number of replacements. It is dereferencing. Let's do that. Number of replacements. Oh, I said p number of replacements. Can I do that now? Hopefully that's going to work. Return message. And p number replacements. Put a star on the front. I'm going to start it off at 0 each and every time. I don't know who's calling me, so I might as well start it off to some safe value. So instead of returning the number of replacements I was doing, I'm going to return the message now, and I'm going to update some pointer to the number of replacements that I had. Okay, we should get the exact same kind of behavior, but let's find out. And I'm going to replace HE with EH. and I have my new message, which is correct now with 3 replacements. Everything is working like it did before. Yes, this is extremely convoluted, and this was meant to be a bit more of a challenging. So we actually hit legitimate places where you're going to screw something up, like passing in parameters that are strings and whether they make duplicates of the strings or I need to use pointers. Right? How can I work around the fact that I can only return one value for a function? In our case, we can pass in a parameter, or we can pass in like pointers to one of the parameters and modify the original parameter, for example. And we've gone over a bunch of ways we can debug our code, both when it comes to C and when it comes to like C code, C strings, and when it comes to strings themselves. And they're slightly different. Now, you could have used this replace all thing, but I would actually have to go and Google search. And by the way, perfectly legitimate approach. If you don't know how to do something with a string, find out how that function works. Find out how replace works, or how you might replace all your characters. I was doing a demo live, so I just figured I'd do the brute force and ignorance way of doing things. But the smarter thing might be to take a step back, figure out how the replace function works, and see if I have a legitimate way of doing the replace function in C, with a string. That would have been a far more efficient solution, but I wanted to see other approaches as well, including I did string concatenation, which is what this plus stuff is here, right? String concatenation. I use substring. I got the length of a string. I use the find function to find a string within a string. I use substring to get a substring or part of the message. I'm using the built-in functions for strings because it makes a lot of sense. We also have a nice example of using cout and cin that's doing almost the exact same thing as scanf and printf. And it doesn't require these percentage s's, and it doesn't require having scanf. Normally for integers or something like that, I'd have to put an ampersand in front of it. In this case, it's a pointer to a string so that you're fine, right? These are the kinds of things that you would there's a lot of equivalencies between these two approaches, and you can compare as you dare what the differences between these two approaches are. Okay, when we come back next time, hopefully will not be quite as long. I talked a lot. I think I'm getting hoarse here. I'm losing my voice from all this talking. We'll be looking at objects finally, and it won't be just so much grinding through code. We're going to be looking at objects and how object-oriented programming works. This is going to be our first step into a much larger world. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.